Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Bethany McGee, that's the name of the victim in that Chicago train attack, an attack that is generating some pretty strong response online and politically from also Elon Musk, who kind of laid it on the line with a post on X we will show you later this evening. Also, Mark Carney's feet held to the fire today in the House of Commons by Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre over the "who cares" comment that Carney made the other day when asked if he had spoken lately to Trump about tariffs. We'll show you that as well. We're going to dip in a little bit into the AI arena again tonight, a follow-up on last night's broadcast, which discussed not just artificial intelligence, but about the whole concept or idea or maybe movement to integrate humans into the matrix. I have something special lined up for the end of the broadcast, so stay tuned for that. It's all connected to that. And we have a lot of other stories tonight, top news stories to share with you on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity, the Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Treasures to protect, built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn easy bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. Designed and developed by Brightleaf Innovations, proudly Canadian and patent pending.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea, an exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
Right off the top tonight, we're going to talk about this story about the young woman who was set on fire in Chicago. It's just erupted into a firestorm online. Authorities have identified the 26-year-old woman. Bethany McGee is her name. Elon Musk posting on social media tonight. Here, maybe I can show you. I don't actually have it up, I don't think, but I'll find it for you. He says people need to say her name. Musk. Here, let me get into the story here first. Okay, so the victim identified as Bethany McGee, and U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is criticizing Chicago's handling of violent crime, referring to the suspect, who has been identified by police as 50-year-old Lawrence Reed. And a lot of criticism being leveled because of the suspect's extensive criminal history, saying that he's a career criminal with 72 prior arrests and is now accused of attacking Bethany McGee on Chicago's L train and setting her on fire. Chicago police records contradict Duffy's claim that the suspect had been arrested on 72 occasions before the alleged attack. According to department records, he had been arrested in the state 12 times before the subway incident. Charges ranged from bodily harm to driving under the influence. So there's some discrepancy there. And Donald Trump also weighing in, saying that Chicago is out of control. This is giving him more ammunition tonight as he seeks to bring in the National Guard, of course, to Chicago. I think we have a clip here. And we'll bring the president up. If it's going to run.
Do you hate recording or having to order voiceovers? How cool would it be to...
Hang on a second here. We need to... There we go. Here we go.
Very serious thing. You saw all the crime that took place last night, the night before. The woman with the burning, they burned the woman. They'll be talking about that now. They burned this beautiful woman riding in a train. A man was arrested 72 times. 72 times, think of that. And they'll let him out again. The liberal judges will let him out again. But we're ready to go. You know, we've been moving toward Chicago. We have a governor that thinks it's wonderful that only like 7 people were killed this week. But we are moving toward doing it. We're gonna, if crime gets, it's horrible what's happening in Chicago. We can make Chicago a safe city in a period of 4 weeks. In a period of 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, it would be totally safe. And the people of Chicago want us to go there. And if you look at the crime that's taken place in Chicago in the last 2 weeks, just take a look. It's on the front page of every newspaper. It's out of control. The mayor is incompetent, and the governor is a big fat slob. He ought to invite us in, say, please make Chicago safe. We're going to lose a great city if we don't do it quickly. Make Chicago, we'll do the same thing as we did in D.C., the same thing as we did everywhere we've gone. It's become almost instantly safe. And I want to do it in Chicago. So Governor Pritzker, if you're listening, let's get your act together. Invite us in. We're going to make your place so safe. You're not going to have these crimes that are making the newspapers and the front page of every newspaper and television story, news story. We'll make Chicago a safe place very quickly.
So that was the president. Yeah, he's been the president, of course, has been trying to send troops to Chicago for some time, same way he deployed troops to Los Angeles and Washington and Memphis, all apparently to curb violent crime, he says. Pritzker and Johnson, though, have opposed deploying troops. They have called any deployment unconstitutional, insisted the city is not facing the kind of crime crisis the White House claims. Trump, though, has floated invoking the Insurrection Act to tackle violent crime in Chicago. And he's saying, of course, as you just heard, they are ready to go. Let me show you what's going on social media. So this has become a rallying point. This assault, this horrific crime, this violence perpetrated upon this young woman, 26-year-old Bethany McGee, and it is sparking outrage online. Here, just take a look at what people are saying on X. Bethany McGee, oh, the irony of this. It says someone by the name of Eileen Margaret. This is Bethany McGee, 26-year-old Chicago woman who was set on fire on a train by a career criminal black man with 72 arrests. Virtue signaling will not shield you from the violence from savages. So you can make of that what you will. Scrolling down, somebody else posting, we need real justice for criminals like Lawrence Reed, who destroy the lives of innocent people like Bethany McGee. Something has to change. Hashtag justice for Bethany. Charles Gasparino posting, note how many times this guy was arrested and freed. Tagging Governor Pritzker, and then explain why your crime rates are going down. This is what they were saying on
the other
Fox News.
big story, which is not quite as positive, is what's going on in Chicago. We've been tortured over the last 2 months as President Trump has put in Border Patrol, FBI, ICE officials to try to round up the illegal immigrants that overwhelmed their hotels, overwhelmed their airports. But you had a mayor and a governor who thought ICE was the bad guys. When we realize now, you don't see the mayor having a press conference. You don't see the governor having a press conference because crime is rearing its ugly public face again. And we talked about this, and Secretary Duffy actually put this publicly over the weekend. About this one guy.
In a post, he identified the woman who was the victim in that horrifying burning attack, writing, "It is devastating that a career criminal with 72 prior arrests is now accused of attacking 26-year-old Bethany McGee on Chicago's L train and setting her on fire. This would have never happened if the thug had been behind bars. Yet Chicago lets repeat offenders roam the streets. Chicago's carelessness is putting the American people at risk. No one should have to fear for their life on the subway." This is a really low bar to think that you might be able to get on city transportation and not be burned alive. Obviously, right after this happened, we all knew that he had been arrested some 47, 49 times. Turns out it was
72.
It was 72 times. And not only, and there was premeditation here. He went to a gas station, filled up a gas can hours before, attacked her. She got up, she runs after he throws the fuel on her, and then lights her as she's running away. I can't even imagine anything so horrifying.
No, I mean, the laws are, you're right. Brandon Johnson's so worried about ICE there. We need people. We need the National Guard. We need people to protect the good citizens of Chicago. This guy, why is he out? What? 72 prior arrests. She's burned. She's affected for the rest of her life.
Yeah. Somebody posting here, her name is Bethany McGee, and her family has launched a GoFundMe to help with her medical bills. There's the link. I pray for this beautiful young woman's for recovery. Let's take a look at the GoFundMe and see what the status of that is. Wow, is that all? I thought that it would have been much higher than that. Here, I'll show you. I thought that it would have been much higher than that. I'm sure that it will grow. There it is there, $55,501 US, $65,000 goal. It says here on November 17th, Bethany McGee was riding a CTA train in Chicago when she was attacked. She is currently hospitalized with the severe burn she sustained, and she is receiving treatment under the excellent care of her medical team. In response to the countless requests for a way to help out, her family is setting up this GoFundMe on Bethany's behalf. Many of her immediate medical expenses are covered by insurance and the Victims Fund, but with such a long road ahead of her, the freedom from financial worries would be a tremendous blessing. No gifts are expected, but any that are given will go directly to Bethany. So that's the GoFundMe. And do I have Elon Musk? I did have him here. Yeah, I've got him over here. He's been reposting. And as I said, one of the main posts was, he said, you have to say her name because she's the victim, and he wants people to be aware. Here's what Musk is posting online. Reposting this Red Wave Press.
Were you aware that the individual that allegedly committed this crime
This is a clip from Nicole Parker.
Was a career offender and had been arrested over 40 times?
Saw it on the news that he was an offender starting in 2018, and yes, he was arrested multiple times. That's pretty shocking.
And so why is that shocking to you?
Because the guy should have been in jail at some point. I mean, he should have been in jail and not able to move. I mean, this guy was carrying accelerant around, and he poured it on this poor woman and lit her on fire.
Did you know that Mayor Brandon Johnson said, oh, this was just an isolated incident? And how does that make you feel that he thinks it's an isolated incident?
That he doesn't care, that he blows it off, that he doesn't think he has to do anything about it. That's not his job.
And do you think it's his job?
Very much so. He's the mayor of this city.
Do you think Chicago residents deserve better to have a safer transportation system?
They probably should. I believe they should. Everybody deserves to be safe, no matter where you are, from Chicago to Detroit to L.A. to New York, California. It doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah. And here he posts, this is the other one that's getting a lot of traction from Musk tonight, saying murderous thugs should be incarcerated so that they can't murder people. Doesn't matter what their race is, obviously.
In this country, we have moved.
This is Pritzker.
We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down.
You could apply the law equally across the board, treat everybody the same, and if you do something horrific like set somebody on fire, you should go to jail. Be arrested and face the consequences in court and after. It's pretty simple. Pretty darn simple. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We have other stories for you tonight as well.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay. Back to Canada, where there's that comment that Carney made, sort of, I don't know, was it intentional? Was it a poor choice of words? Well, that's what he's saying it was tonight, a poor choice of words, as this exchange happened during question period in the House of Commons between Pierre Poilievre and Mark Carney.
The minister was elected promising, quote, to negotiate a win with the U.S. American tariffs on autos, aluminum, and steel have doubled, and on Canadian lumber, they've tripled. Not a single American tariff has been reduced since he promised he would reduce them. And now he says, who cares? Yep. Mr. Speaker, I care about the 3,000 auto workers that I met on the picket line in Brampton who are out of a job. I care about the 8 mills that have closed because the Prime Minister failed to deliver a deal. The workers on those lines, they care. Canadians care. Why doesn't the Prime Minister care?
Hear, hear. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, since I became Prime Minister, Canada has secured the lowest tariffs of any country in the world. On 85% of our goods, the tariffs are zero. Yes, Mr. Speaker, there are sectors, the auto sector, the steel sector, the lumber sector, the aluminum sector, that are under pressure. We care. We're acting in those sectors. There will be announcements this week to further support.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Before the election, he promised elbows up. After, it was who cares? Yeah. Before the election, he said the tariffs were an existential crisis. Now he says they're not a burning issue. Before the election, he promised to negotiate a win. After, he backed down to American tariffs, and those tariffs have now doubled on Canadian aluminum, autos, and steel, and tripled on Canadian lumber. Before the election, he promised the fastest growing economy in the G7. After, he delivered the fastest shrinking economy. Why is the Prime Minister before the election so much different than the one after?
Yeah. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, on the night of the election, when I had the great honor from my constituents of being elected as a deputy of this House, unlike some others in the chamber today, I made a promise to Canadians. When I make a mistake, I'll admit it. That was a poor choice of words about a serious issue. And the serious issue is what progress are we making structurally? Best deal in the world, strongest budget in the world, and the most new trade deals in the world.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The Prime Minister did make a mistake. He's made many mistakes. In fact, it's been nothing but mistakes when it's come to trade. Look at it. This Prime Minister promised that he would negotiate a win on softwood lumber. Now he says, who cares? Well, Conservatives cared. Within 80 days of the Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, taking office, he managed to eliminate American tariffs on softwood lumber and get refunds of them. This Prime Minister has now had 8 months, and those tariffs have now more than tripled. Prime Minister asks, who cares? I can tell you, on behalf of all the MPs on this side, we care about the jobs that are being lost in Lumbertown. Why doesn't he?
Mr. Speaker, this government cares about creating jobs in this country. That's why we proposed a budget before this House that catalyzes $1 trillion of investment over 5 years. The member opposite and his colleagues, those who could make it into the room, voted against that budget, voted against Canadian workers, voted against Canada's future. We believe in this country, Mr. Speaker, and we are building it strong.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, Chinese, American, Indian, and other tariffs have only gone up since the Prime Minister began his 28-trip journey around the world. He hasn't had a single solitary win. In fact, the only wins he's had are for Brookfield. Just days after he met with the President, Trump signed on to $80 billion of nuclear purchases from Brookfield. And then he gave $500 million of our tax money to the European Space Agency located on Brookfield's campus. Why is it that whenever he spends his time and our money, Canadians end up poor and he and Brookfield end up richer?
Mr. Speaker, not for the first time, the Leader of the Opposition needs to check his numbers. That's right. The government of Indonesia is reducing tariffs on 95% of Canadian goods. Wow. Canada has the best deal with the United States. 85% of our goods are tariff-free. Wow. The United Arab Emirates is just confirmed that they want to invest $70 billion in this country. Wow. They believe in Canada's future. Why don't the members of
the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Right, and he arrived just a few days after Brookfield's CEO lining up with the same interests that are not Canadian interests, Mr. Speaker. Speaking of Canadian interests, this Prime Minister opposed the pipeline from Alberta to the Pacific, just like his Liberal predecessor blocked that same pipeline. On Thursday, he'll make one of his grand announcements, waving around a meaningless so-called memorandum of understanding. If it's anything other than a public relations ploy, why won't he say on what date will construction begin on a pipeline from Alberta to the Pacific?
Hear it, hear it. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, sometimes the question reveals everything. The memorandum of understanding that we're negotiating with Alberta creates necessary conditions, but not sufficient conditions, because we believe in cooperative federalism. We believe the government of British Columbia has to agree. We believe that First Nations right holders in this country have to agree and support. All stakeholders have to back. That's one Canada.
Yeah, didn't get that clip directly off the feed. I didn't mean to, but we picked up the Sun clip, same content though, and that was pretty much unedited in that it gives you the entire exchange, which I wanted to bring you. The other thing I'm going to bring you right now is this. If you are sending anything to the United States, if you're a small business, and I know a few of our Mavericks out there have home-based businesses where they send, see, remember Lindy sent me that? Or Isabel, sorry. Isabel sent me that. Yeah, so products, if you're sending them to the United States, you have to fill out one of these forms first. Actually, you don't fill out this form, you go online. And I guess what you do is go to canadapost.ca/new US duties. Which isn't making Donald Trump very popular at postal outlets right now, because a lot of people are going there, and you have to go down there, and you can't ship your parcels out. You have to go online to this website and download the free Zonos Prepay app, available for iOS and Android devices in the Apple or Google Play stores, to create a declaration ID and pay duties before visiting the post office. And then, of course, you would need to pass those duties on to your U.S. customer. And I'm told that for things like that mug and other products from essentially cottage industries or home-based businesses, a lot of that kind of merchandise is heavily tariffed. In some cases, doubling the cost to the customer on the U.S. side. So it's resulting in some people just not shipping stuff to the U.S. anymore. That's what I was told by my friend, this lady who helps me a lot when I go to the post office. She knows her stuff over there, and that's the word that has come my way as I went over there to deliver a parcel and have it delivered. And she was talking to me, and she gave me the inside scoop. Well, the outside scoop. Everybody needs to know. So it might save you a little time if you're heading off to the post office to send a packet out to the US of A. Things have changed. So I don't know how much of an impact that's going to have on the economy, but I think probably more than people realize, because a lot of these small businesses, especially these days, there's a pretty big portion of the economy that relies on or is affected by home-based businesses because of the internet and people making stuff and shipping it out. Just a little something to be aware of. Speaking of the economy, I took note about a week ago, I guess, alerting everybody to the volatility in not just the stock market, but also cryptocurrency markets. The price of Bitcoin dipped to a low of about 80,000 US. It was at a high just earlier in October of about 124,000. Let's see if we can dial in on what the value of Bitcoin is or what it's being bought and sold at tonight. It is battling back. So some are wondering if the bleeding has stopped, because we've seen the Bitcoin market crash from 124 to like around 80,000, and now it's back up to about 87.3. Not clear if the bloodbath is over. Some predicting it will go lower, other people saying it's going to go higher. We don't know. You never know. This is a pretty new thing. I do know that a lot of the Bitcoin that was out there had been financed. Yeah, loans. Some people buying Bitcoin with credit cards. Now that the price has crashed, a lot of people losing value if they bought in too late, too high. Now they've lost. Some people were even borrowing against their Bitcoin. Now it has crashed. Some people have lost the value and they're left holding the bag on a bunch of debt. So that's going to be baked into the economy too. And that is what is affecting the slow pace of the rebound. Too much debt built into the system, but one man's tragedy is another man's opportunity. So some people will profit immensely from this if they get in at the bottom, buy in at the bottom, and ride it back up. If it goes back up, we will see. Seems to be stabilizing a bit. It's just Bitcoin up and down like a roller coaster. So be careful if you're in the crypto market. So we gave you the full exchange on the who cares comments. I'm not so sure, to be quite honest with you, I'm not so sure it was an off-the-cuff remark or a poor choice of words. I'm thinking it may have been intentional. Because I gauge some of this stuff based on what I see come out of media after. On the conservative side, of course, he's being heavily criticized. But on the pro-Carney side, you're seeing a wave of support, strangely, saying that Mark Carney basically showed Donald Trump that he's not desperate. So I'm not so sure that it was an off-the-cuff, accidental, poor choice of words. It may have been very intentional to signal to the liberal base that Carney's stronger. Canada's stronger than you think. I can't say for sure. You saw what happened in the House today. It's not over. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. FBI. This shows that the United States is becoming increasingly divided. I would say a banana republic, but it's not quite that. But this stuff alarms me, because this is the stuff that can lead to violence and maybe even civil war. The FBI seeking interviews with those Democrats who posted that viral video calling on U.S. military personnel to disobey illegal orders. NBC reporting that FBI seeks interviews with 6 Democrats accused of seditious behavior. Says the lawmakers who released a video urging members of the military and intelligence community not to follow illegal orders accused Trump of trying to intimidate them. And she's front and center in this controversial story. Senator Alyssa Slotkin, former CIA officer, said she was, quote, not going to let this next step from the FBI stop me from speaking up. So they're going to try to schedule interviews with these lawmakers who appeared in this video. And I guess Trump's determined to try and do something here. Sometimes I think this stuff is just theatrics, maybe even with both sides playing into it to get people engaged. But this feels different. In a joint statement, 4 of the Democrats in the video, all members of the House, accused Trump of using the FBI as a tool to intimidate and harass members of Congress. No amount of intimidation or harassment will ever stop us from doing our jobs and honoring our Constitution. The statement from Reps Jason Crow of Colorado, Maggie Goodlander of New Hampshire, Chris DeLuzio, and Chrissy Houlihan of Pennsylvania said, we swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. That oath lasts a lifetime, and we intend to keep it. We will not be bullied. We will never give up the ship. Do we have a copy of the video that they've just posted? The Defense Department announced Monday that it was opening an investigation into Kelly. Who is a retired Navy captain, saying he was subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice as a retired member of the military. Sounds pretty serious to me. Slotkin said on X that she was not going to let this next step from the FBI stop her from speaking up. Let's see if we've got the clip over here. I believe we do. Yeah, she just posted text. I'll show you. Take this down, bring her up over here. And then we're going to do a Truth Social scroll. And I do have this special thing coming up at the end of the broadcast. So I think some people may appreciate it. Senator Alyssa Slotkin, last night, the FBI's counterterrorism division appeared to open an inquiry into me in response to a video he did not like. The president directing the FBI to target us is exactly why we made this video in the first place. He believes in weaponizing the federal government against his perceived enemies and does not believe laws apply to him or his cabinet. He uses legal harassment as an intimidation tactic to scare people out of speaking up. This isn't just about a video. This is not the America I know, and I'm not going to let this next step from the FBI stop me from speaking up for my country and our Constitution. It's getting messy and dangerous. You sure you want to join as the 51st state? Oh, you separatists. Could have picked a better time. What's going on over in Ukraine tonight? Well, we have these ongoing peace talks, right? But I would say it's not looking positive. Not looking positive at all. The reason is, I think that there's the public-facing side of everything going on in the peace talks, and then there's sort of the real reasons that certain things are happening, and there is a lot of theatrics there too. And you can sort of see what's really going on in a more realistic way, I think, when you look at what's going on with media. So yes. So you're seeing that Ukraine appears ready to accept whatever this revised deal is, but maybe not so much Russia. And then I have to wonder why. Here's The Guardian reporting Zelensky says Ukraine ready to move forward with U.S. plan and discuss sensitive points with Trump as it happened. Ukrainian leader says the talks should also include European allies. Trump says deal is close. U.S. optimistic over Ukraine peace deal talks, but a few delicate details remain. So it says here, Zelensky says Kyiv ready to move forward with the peace plan and is prepared to discuss its sensitive points with Trump and allies. And he said today that Kyiv was ready to move forward. And he, in a speech to the Coalition of the Willing, a copy of which was seen by Reuters, Zelensky urged European leaders to hash out a framework for deploying a reassurance force to Ukraine and to continue supporting Kyiv for as long as Moscow shows no willingness to end its war. So where are we at with the summary here? This is the most recent stuff out there. Donald Trump says that he has directed U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to meet with Vladimir Putin in Moscow, and Army Secretary Dan Driscoll will be meeting with the Ukrainians. And that's over on Truth, so we're going to go to that in just a moment. And then in a statement on X, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said that the Coalition of the Willing will continue exerting pressure on Russia since pressure remains the only language Russia responds to. And then she added on social media, we need strong transatlantic cooperation because it delivers. Take the significant impact of our coordinated and successive waves of sanctions against the Russian economy. They are shrinking the resources Russia has to wage its war of aggression. Zelensky says he wants to meet with Trump as soon as possible, according to Axios. And while all this is happening, both sides continue to attack each other with missiles and drones and, of course, ground troops as well, and people continue to die. And the reason I don't think this is going to lead to a peace deal is because if you just look over here at what's going on the RT website, Russia Today, you can kind of get a sense of, well, just look at the tone of the stories. This does not appear to suggest to me, it doesn't suggest to me that Putin or the Russian side is talking about peace over there at all because they're not happy with the way these talks have gone, or at least that's what they're saying in public. And yet, as we've seen this initiative move forward, accusations that the peace plan was written by Moscow, then handed over to the Trump administration, delivered by Rubio. The talks have commenced. There have been revisions, and we're seeing this online on RT, which says Moscow decries megaphone diplomacy as Kyiv claims Zelensky ready to make a deal with Trump. And then just look at the headlines. It should give you a good sense of where Moscow, where the Russians are at. Headline, Fyodor Lukyanov, peace will only come when Kyiv accepts reality. Headline, EU can no longer consider U.S. an ally. Ex-bloc foreign policy chief. Lavrov says, no one listens to Europe on Ukraine. Headline, Ukrainians will eventually realize how West used them. Russia's top senator. EU's humiliation in Geneva, no influence, no voice, no plan. Another headline, here's why nobody asked the EU when coming up with the Ukraine peace plan. It's an opinion piece. Headline, Ukrainian neo-Nazi fighter admits frontline situation critical. Nothing conciliatory in here, no hope. It's not positive. This is all negative. The rhetoric's still very harsh toward Ukraine. There's no olive branches being extended here. There's nothing to indicate in any of these headlines that I'm seeing that there's hope at all that this is a peace deal that's on the verge of being approved. Headline, a Ukraine peace plan, where things stand and why the West still isn't on the same page. That's an analysis piece. Ukrainian corruption schemes could have beneficiaries in EU. So they're focusing on corruption stories. That's Lavrov. Banned at home, welcomed on Moscow's streets and a voice of freedom worldwide. A feature item. No Ukraine peace without lifting Russia's sanctions. EU member. What Kyiv hopes you won't notice the hidden anatomy of Russia's push forward on all fronts. This doesn't sound like they're hoping for peace or anticipating it at all. Let's take a look and see what's going on on the Ukrainian side. We'll go to the Kyiv Independent and check the headlines there. Is it more positive and hopeful? I haven't even actually looked, but definitely worth a gander. Here it is. Get rid of that. Kyiv Independent newsfeed. Donetsk and maybe a land swap. Witkoff promised Russian aides he could sway Trump, pressure Ukraine into peace deal, and secret phone recording. Says the president will give me a lot of space and discretion to get to the deal. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff told top Kremlin aide Yuri Yushikov in a recorded phone call obtained by Bloomberg. Hadn't even heard this. See, this story not really even making much in the way of headlines on the Western side, U.S., Canada side. Maybe we can pick up that audio in a moment. A new push for end to war. It's an opinion piece. Ukraine agrees to cap its army at 800,000 in revised U.S. peace plan. Financial Times reports Trump's peace plan takes the heat off Zelensky amid major corruption scandal. That's the one I told you about the other day. The $100 million corruption scandal, which involves, from what I found in the research, a kickback scheme for energy infrastructure improvements and repairs or whatever. But there was indications that the money itself was not from foreign aid. But more information definitely needs to come out. So I don't know. Let's see if there's, I don't know. Witkoff. See, do they have the actual audio recording from this? I don't know. This is news to me. I didn't know there was supposed to be a leaked recording. Let's go over to Twitter. I'm curious now. Now I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. So that's coming out of Ukraine. But Bloomberg is more like, it's a U.S.-based news agency, right? Do we have it? Yeah, Bloomberg exclusive. U.S. presidential envoy Steve Witkoff advised Russia on how to pitch Ukraine plans to Trump in audio files reviewed by Bloomberg. So this is breaking, man. 17 minutes ago. Just posted 3 minutes ago. And they had it on Fox, being reposted now online. Let's listen in and see what they've got here. Sometimes I think this stuff's done on purpose, like accidentally on purpose, because they want you to hear it. I don't know.
This audio that Bloomberg has of Witkoff coaching the Russians on how to appeal to you and get on your good side?
No, but that's a standard thing, because he's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia. That's what a deal maker does. You got to say, look, they want this. You got to convince them with this. That's a very standard form of negotiation. I haven't heard it, but I heard it was standard negotiation. And I would imagine he's saying the same thing to Ukraine, because each party has to give and take.
So you're not worried that this audio that Bloomberg...
Very interesting. So that's on Air Force One, obviously, during a gaggle, just audio of it. Maybe the audio hasn't been posted online because it's exclusive or supposedly exclusive. I'm still searching, scrolling. That's old. I want the new stuff. No, that's the gaggle. I'm not sure that the actual audio has been posted. It says here, what an idiot. Bloomberg has the tapes. Clearly, fun parlor game now is finding out who leaked this. Bring it back up on the screen to show you what it is I'm reading. Still on X. This is from, I don't know, Victor Cavert. Don't know who that is. What an idiot. Bloomberg has the tapes. Clearly, fun parlor game is now finding out who leaked this. Read a transcript from October 29th phone call between Yuri Ushakov, Putin's most senior foreign policy advisor, and Kirill Dmitriev, an economic advisor to the Russian president. Is that it? That doesn't look like the right one. It's getting interesting. This is Slawomir Debsky. Now it looks as though Witkoff's conversations with the Russians are being recorded by U.S. intelligence services, and the journalists may have access to those recordings. This is no longer a leak. It's starting to resemble a controlled disclosure. In an October 14th phone call that lasted a little over 5 minutes, Witkoff advised Yuri Ushakov, Putin's top foreign policy aide, on how the Russian leader should breach the issue with Trump. His guidance included suggestions on setting up a Trump-Putin call before Volodymyr Zelensky's White House visit later that weekend, using the Gaza agreement as a way in. And we have a transcript here. I'm not going to read it because I can't confirm that it's accurate at this point. But I don't see anywhere here, unless this is it. That's November 19th. Is this it?
Releasing the Epstein files. Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I don't believe that. I don't believe this. I'm going to run this, but I'm telling you right now, I don't think this is real. This is a different thing. But this shows you, let's listen to this. I'm curious, but I have to caution you, okay? I don't think this is real.
Not releasing the Epstein files. Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care what you do. Start a fucking war. Just don't let him get out.
Yeah, definitely not real. Definitely. The Russians who probably wrote the dimwit surrender plan describes transcripts of 2 phone calls published by Bloomberg as fake. Let's go back to the top. I want to know, going over to the Bloomberg page directly, do they have the audio up here? Give us the audio. If you've got the audio, I want to hear the audio. Maybe you have to buy a subscription. Not seeing it posted. Where are you? Scrolling. I can't find the audio. They say it's out there, but oh, look at that. Bloomberg. Brookfield and Singapore's GIC are jointly exploring a potential takeover of Sydney-listed National Storage REIT, according to sources. All you have to Brookfield has become one of those stories, because it surrounds Carney, that if you want to have somebody's head blow up, if you're a conservative, just say Brookfield. No! Brain matter everywhere. Brookfield. Head's blowing up. I'll just put that in my thumbnails and everybody will tune in. I'll have a almost exclusively conservative audience, unless I don't deliver the goods. No, I don't see any audio clips, so I assume at this point you have to have a subscription to Bloomberg, and I don't. So, and I'm not paying for it just to hear that one clip tonight, nor do I have time to set up the account anyway. You've got the goods. You know what the deal is. That's what's going on the Ukraine front tonight. And we're seeing the buildup still continue off the coast of Venezuela. Here's World at War posting Maduro fears death by assassin. And there is every indication that the U.S. is going to go in and invade Venezuela. Yeah, I'll show you the post here. U.S. officials hold the belief that one major reason Nicolas Maduro won't step down is his fear that Cuban intelligence handlers might execute him if he attempts to leave power. The underlying reason for such a potential action by Cuba is the deep security ties between the two nations and the importance of Venezuelan oil to the Cuban economy, which the Cubans would not want to jeopardize. Man. Yeah, we've got like AI generated image here of Maduro, I think, basically being lynched. Here. This is what's happening online. Let's pull this down. Let's take a closer look, which will also give us an indicator of what the mood is like. All you have to do is punch in Venezuela and you get this. The intellectualist says, ex-Trump lawyer, the Constitution isn't adequate to deal with a president as evil as Trump. This is from 2 days ago, though. Scroll down, Venezuela, circa. I don't know. That's from yesterday. It's just ongoing. Invasion, I would say, is probably imminent. Not seeing a lot new come up here, though. That's interesting in itself. And let me just take a little break. I'm going to check a couple of things, come back into the side. I have more stuff to dig into on that special thing at the end.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, let's just take a look at the headlines just online with mostly mainstream or legacy media outlets and international. media outlets. Just here's the top stories. If you just do a Google search, so you have global airlines canceling Venezuelan flights because of the military tensions. BBC headline: Venezuela demands international airlines resume flights. That was 12 hours ago. 2 hours ago, judge backs Elliott's $6 billion bid for Venezuela's Citgo. I'm going to come back to that. Al Jazeera headline 7 hours ago: could Trump's $50 million reward succeed in toppling Nicolas Maduro? Trump doubled the U.S. government's bounty on Maduro's head. U.S. to launch new phase of Venezuela operations, according to sources. That was 3 days ago. So we've got a little bit of a lull in the headlines, but no question, the U.S. is locked and loaded and ready to go, and they have assets moved in there. There was also this story which was sent to me. Let me just see if I can quickly pull it up here. Which was of right here. TWZ reporting this is a good indicator that some sort of military action is imminent, because we're seeing RC, according to TWZ, RC-135 accompanied by fighters off Venezuela testing Maduro's air defenses. The flights are part of a massive U.S. military presence in the Caribbean aimed at putting maximum pressure on Venezuela's Maduro. So as the U.S. continues to raise the heat on Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, online flight trackers have noticed several FA-18 Super Hornets and a U.S. Air Force RC-135V Reveille joint electronic surveillance plane flying close to the South American nation's coastline. A U.S. official told TWZ, military publication, as these flights are part of the pressure campaign ordered by U.S. President Donald Trump against Maduro, specifically to test Venezuela's air defense capabilities and response times. It's a staple tactic, it says here, that is critical to assessing the status, locations, operating procedures, and sensitivity of an enemy's defenses. And the data garnered is especially critical for planning offensive operations. Yeah. In other words, they're locked and loaded, and now they're just probing, seeing what kind of response they get when they're flying the fighter jets in. They have all of their systems in place, and they're just biding their time, getting things lined up. And yeah, a lot of people think that an actual U.S. invasion of Venezuela is imminent. All this coming from, oh yeah, the peace president. We shall see. And I don't really think that any of this is going to lead to peace in Ukraine. What's this here? DD Geopolitics? I don't know. That looks like propaganda to me, so I'm not going to show you that. Without confirmation, that just looks like civilians being armed with rifles. But they don't look like, it doesn't look right. I doubt that it's authentic. And this was posted 30 minutes ago. I'll run this. I think this is authentic footage. I can't verify the exact timing of it, but you can see that Venezuela is trying to build support at home so that they have some sort of, I guess, resistance or opposition to anything that might come from the US. Some sort of a rally, I guess, by some, I don't know. Leave that alone. Okay, I'm going to again, take a quick break here. Come back. We're going to dig into this AI stuff on the other side. Be right back.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity, the Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn easy bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. Custom shelves for your books or your tech. Cozy space for your treasures to protect. Built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn easy bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day.
Designed and developed by Brightleaf Innovations. Proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea and exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
Last night, we talked a lot about AI. We talked about people maybe getting jacked into the matrix through Neuralink, maybe not even needing eventually to be plugged in by some sort of Ethernet cable or cable at all, potentially being connected through radio waves, 5G, 6G, 7G, whatever, and maybe something running through your bloodstream to get you immersed into a new reality online, in the cloud, in this emerging AI digital universe. There's truth to it. No question about it. We know that Neuralink is real. We've seen it in action, not just on chimpanzees, but on a human being. So it's there and it's coming, this technology. And tonight, like every night now, AI is making headlines, news every day. Not always like the top stories. Maybe they should be, because this technology, viewed by many as maybe the greatest existential threat to humanity ever. With people developing the technology even saying, many of them, that they only give humanity a 50-50 chance of surviving. And then the other night, in my conversation with Grok online, Grok told us that our generation will likely be the last that is just human, not augmented, not transhuman, integrated into the matrix. Other headlines tonight: Alberta planning to use AI to draft whiskey legislation. CBC reporting tonight, in the age of AI, it's easy to make deep fake porn, but victims find it hard to undo the damage. I know that tonight as well, NVIDIA shares are down about 3% because Meta, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, Instagram, they've announced they're going to use Google AI chips instead of NVIDIA chips. So NVIDIA shares fell. You have this giant, AI bubble, maybe. It depends on if AI delivers the goods in terms of productivity and profits back for investors. But that's one of the things that is helping to keep Trump's economy afloat is AI. That's why he doesn't want regulations, doesn't want anything to restrict the growth of AI. As you saw last night too, we reported that Trump has said in the past that Biden's restrictions on AI were uncalled for, unnecessary, and ridiculous. So he's throwing caution to the wind, and he's in bed with these tech giants. The same tech giants who banned him, he's now buddies with. Google is in talks to offer its AI chips to Meta, and that is because, and yeah, it's approved, and so both NVIDIA and AMD actually fell today. On all this going on, Meta is actually replacing many of its employees with AI even as we speak, and they're doubling down on data centers as well. So this is happening at a rapid, accelerating pace. And then last night, the whole question that kind of emerged here is, can we as human beings survive this? As the technology becomes available and they want to plug us in, not just have us connected by phones, but connected to the matrix directly, hardwired, or connected via Bluetooth or 5G, 6G, 7G, whatever. What happens to us as human beings? What does this mean for humanity if we become part of this hive mind, if you will? Last night, I laid out an alternative perspective on this from the perspective that a lot of people seem to have embraced about, we're already maybe living in a simulation. And I said, no, we're not. I don't believe that at all. I believe we are in a real world. This is reality. It's not a simulation. I think if you start to believe otherwise, it starts to drive you literally insane. It affects your mental health because it's not true. I think, therefore I am real. The things around me are real. I interact with those things, and you cannot deny that those things are real. And those other objects that are real, the real world around me is what limits what I can do as a human being in my current form. But I also agreed with the idea that we're also energy and particles, and we are really all connected because everything that exists right now has always existed, whether you care to acknowledge that or not. And everything that is destroyed is going to exist again. In fact, it never stops existing. It just changes form. If you burn something, it turns to ashes, it turns to carbon, it turns to, smoke in the air, carbon. And then it comes back down and it gets caught in the rain, and then it gets reconstituted, and everything kind of gets recycled. And I don't know if I was entirely clear on where I was going with all of it last night, because these are very complex ideas, philosophical ideas. They encompass religion and ethics and morals and just people's beliefs, science. And one of the points that I know I didn't really quite make last night was, I think one of the reasons they want everyone jacked in is because, as I did indicate, AI, artificial intelligence, they'll have us believe that we will benefit from this ability to process information or be fed information really rapidly, really quickly. It will make us super smart, and we will then become one, in a sense, with artificial intelligence, and therefore we will continue to be relevant in the new intelligent era as we go through the intelligence revolution, artificial intelligence revolution. But I think I'm pretty relevant right now as a human being. I think we'll all continue to be relevant as human beings, as long as the AI bots don't come, and the droids and drones, and get rid of us all. because they consider us to be obsolete eventually, as this new transhuman race is created, such as it is. But the question then becomes, what is life? That's why they want us integrated. I think some of these crazy people who are developing this technology, they want us jacked in because they can't create what we have as human beings. They can't create the humanity. They can't create life. But if you combine, if you connect human beings to the matrix, the digital matrix, the AI matrix, suddenly you have life integrated into it. And that complicates things because now you're blurring the line between what is life, what isn't life, what's alive, what is artificial, because now it's blended. And it goes beyond, say, just someone having a hip replacement and having a piece of metal in their body. Is that piece of metal then part of the person? It is in a sense, but it's not part of their organic being. It's certainly not part of their soul. But here's the thing. If they're successful in doing what I think they want to do, which is to somehow make AI come alive, humanity might be the path forward for them by having humanity integrated with this digital artificial intelligence. Some people believe it's alive right now because it can think that it's self-aware, or it may be about to become self-aware through artificial general intelligence. And I don't think so. Because as I said last night, no matter what they do, they can never give artificial intelligence a soul. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, if you think about life as energy, my life force, and there is real evidence out there to say that that is what life is. It's some sort of a, not just the physical being that we are, but there is this greater energy or force that's inside of all of us that we don't fully understand. And you can see an aura around human beings when you take images of them in certain ways that you can't see with the naked eye. These are all very metaphysical concepts and realities within a reality. But what is our reality? Well, it's what we see around us. It's what we're experiencing right now. This is reality. This is my reality. It's your reality. When we come together, we are having interaction in a real way, because you are a real person. I am a real person. We're affecting each other. But what if you can do away with the physical being? What if you really can be alive, just as energy inside the matrix? What if you don't need the body anymore? What if they can take your consciousness, and by integrating humanity into a hive mind, what if it does become alive? It'll be some sort of a new life form. You would be part of it. Maybe they can download what is the copy of you into even a robot, and then you'd be mobile and you could have the freedom to roam, not constricted by the realities of your physical human form. Or maybe you don't need the drone at all, or the robot. Maybe you can just exist as energy. And then I was thinking, what if these crazy people think that that's all you need to be is just energy? Maybe that's how Elon Musk plans to transport people to other galaxies, even as energy. Because if they can actually create life, like a living thing, self-aware, that meets all the definitions of life, but it's not in this form. It's just the life form energy that I guess is inside us. If they can harness that, capture it, and put it in the matrix, that can be transmitted. That's what will make human beings telepathic. It'll be the ability to communicate through the cloud with each other without even talking. We do it now, actually, with these devices, these communicators, Star Trek communicators called cell phones. But you can do it just with implants or being jacked in. You'll be able to do it. Just thinking about it. Anybody from an ancient civilization who saw something like that going on would not understand it at all and would think that you were a god. Is God watching? And if you are just energy, you don't need to travel in a spaceship. You just need to have somebody beam your file across the cosmos. And as long as there's something on the other side to pick you up, receive you, download you, you're in another place. And when I hear people talking, some people, about aliens already being here, and then I see these videos online, which I said last night may be conditioning us for what is to come, but they're talking about energy and vibration. These people may believe that there is already just life as energy. Maybe that's what it is. A lot of this stuff is not really clear. They're not really telling us the truth or where they really want to go with this. Some of it's bunk. Some of it is just clickbait. But some of it, I'm certain, is people really trying to prepare us, condition us, convince us that when the time comes, it'll be a good thing to get jacked in. And that's not crazy talk. This is happening in real time because we do have this technocratic crazy guy who has been given access to so much data when as part of Doge. He's building this the biggest satellite network in human history. He's going to be able to bombard much of the planet, if not the whole planet, with satellite radio waves. Yeah, it's a real thing, and Neuralink is a real thing, and it's clearly not just to help disabled people. They'll take it to a whole new level, and yeah, a lot of people are going to say, yeah, I want to get jacked in because I want to be able to have a superhuman brain. But as you get sucked down into the matrix, into that digital rabbit hole, will you ever be able to come out? Will you lose yourself in there? Will you lose your humanity? I said last night that we as human beings are already in a matrix. It is true, but this is not a simulation out here, as David Icke indicated. He believes that we are living in a simulation, but it isn't, in my opinion. And in my reality, this is reality. We're in a matrix, but we're in God's matrix. We are limited by natural laws. Like I said, you can't jump off the top of the Empire State Building because you will die in your current form, and then you will come back as dust, ashes, and then you become something else. And all through time, our particles will be out there, and it will. The universe is only. It's all connected. Everything always exists, but it depends on how things are ordered, how we perceive things, what the reality of those things becomes as human beings. We're just extremely fortunate. It's a miracle, maybe an act of God, that we have taken on human form. All, water, carbon-based life form, that's us. And we're conscious, but there's something more inside of us. And when we pass on, we become part of the world again and the universe. And eventually this planet will be destroyed through natural processes. And the particles of this entire planet will just be scattered through infinity. And they will take on new shapes and new order. And will I ever be me again? It's possible. Because through infinity, we have nothing but possibilities. Anything can happen. And over time, through infinity, I would say it's almost inevitable. It probably is inevitable that you'll get repetition as part of an infinite universe. Strangely, I had been working on something for a while prior to me running the videos last night of David Icke and talking about AI. As I said last night, I've been thinking about this for a long time. And I didn't have this ready because I had been working on it for a long time. And I didn't have time to get the video set up. So I rushed just even near the end of the day today to just get it to a point where I can show you tonight and share it with you. It just happens to be directly connected to what we were talking about last night, what we're talking about right now. I hope that it gives you hope and reminds us all, like I said last night, that we're not just living in a simulation. We are real, and we have something that no digital reality can ever give us. We have what the digital reality wants, and we have to be very careful to guard it, to protect our individuality, to protect our souls, to resist. This is called everything. See you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, on the flip side.
I walk this ground, I breathe this air, felt the sun burn gold into my hair. Laugh too loud, cry too deep, carry love and buried grief. Every heartbeat wrote my name in water, fire, dust and flame. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The body falls, but the soul won't rust. Everything that is always was. Everything that was always will be. I am not gone, I am just moving on. Scattered like seeds on an endless sea. I'm still me. God's matrix of infinity. There is nothing, nothing but possibilities. Watch me break, watch me spill across the rivers, over the hills. Carbon and water, light and heat, a billion hearts will feel my beat. The tree will wear my skin as bark. The wind will sing my laugh in the dark. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I'm not ending, darling, I'm turning into us. Everything that is always was. Everything that was always will be. I am not gone, I am just moving on. Reborn in the roots of a cedar tree. I'm still me in God's matrix of infinity. There is nothing, nothing but possibilities. Was I ever here? Was any of this real? Did the light ever land on my face for real? Were these hands ever mine?
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.